Hi there, I'm back to talk about the tarot cards that correlate to the first card of the It's Elemental reading, number 1. Okay, so this is the Equator card. To make equal is the message. Okay, and I'm going to read from the Oceanic Tarot book, Discover the Secrets and Wisdom of the Sea, for the 2 cards that came out when I shuffled the Oceanic Tarot deck. The first one, as I said, in the oracle portion of this reading, is Page of Pentacles. Okay, so sometimes we have to start over again. But there is opportunity when you play your cards right, no pun intended, and remaining calm. And that's this message that's coming through many of these cards here. You can be determined and strong, but it's important to be calm, okay, and be balanced in your mental and emotional state. Here it says in the Oceanic Tarot booklet, meaning opportunity. The Page of Pentacles brings good news about finances, work, and education. While the page does not represent this money alone, he brings you hope that your wish will be granted. An additional meaning of the Page of Pentacles is a pending job offer, or if you are trying to sell a property or move, this will happen soon, provided you pay attention to the paperwork. Advice: look out for offers regarding property and work. There's a good opportunity on the horizon, but be diligent and check all contracts carefully. So the keywords for the Page of Pentacles energy of opportunity are money, messages, communication, work, luck, confidence, and optimism. And remember again, Archangel Gabriel is here, which I talked about in the intro for this particular extended reading for card number 1, and that's benediction. Okay? And I posted some information about benediction, so you can look at that link as well in the description box. Okay, and so the next card, as I said, is 6 of Swords. So you're being lifted out of the difficulties, out of the storm, toward more calm, serene water, if you will. More calm emotions around people that are more calm, and situations that are more calm instead of damaging and destructive. 6 of Swords, meaning calm. It's time to glide into more peaceful, calmer waters. So this is a reassuring card. If you have suffered upheaval, conflict, or uncertainty, this 6 of Swords card also predicts physical journeys over water, and in general sees you moving on in positive ways toward new work that may also be on the horizon. An additional meaning is protection, in that you prioritize what's important to you and leave behind the people or the situations that no longer serve you in a positive way. And remember, in traditional tarot, there's a young woman sitting in a boat facing forward, and there's a child sitting next to her, which is to be, construed either as her inner child or perhaps even her child. The advice for this card is go with the flow of life. There's no need to resist change. And that is what, in the oracle portion of this reading, is talking about from the Gateway oracle deck. Remember, when you go back and look, letting go is the card that I'm talking about, okay? Letting go, I surrender joyously to the ebbing and flowing of life, trusting one's intuition, right? See, letting go here and going through this keyhole or this portal, if you will, toward the new earth, toward what is positive, what is sunny and inviting and beautiful and joyous. Okay? And it says here, my life is truly guided. And again, as I mentioned in the oracle portion of this reading, that one of the charms that came out is the key, okay, to unlock this portal, if you will, to go through it, okay, as we go through these eclipses coming up into Capricorn season, because your hard work is paying off. That's the card that comes right after expect powerful change. And as I mentioned in the oracle portion of this reading, it's been almost 1 full year since the Saturn-Jupiter Great Conjunction, right, at the winter solstice 2020. And so now we're going through eclipses to eclipse out what no longer is meant for us, because we've done the work and learned the lessons, if this message resonates with you, okay? And the new moon energy brings forward or brings forth this flow, right? This flow toward the new as we eclipse out the old. And this is another way of looking at it, moving away from the sharks in the sea of life, if you will, and going toward calmer, safer waters. Okay, I just have a few more cards and I'll be done. So thank you for your patience. And remember, we're healing fear as we do this, okay? So make sure you look at or watch my other videos, The New Human Race. It's not a competition. Independence, not codependence. And New Sensations. And pat yourself on the back, because this card here, to equalize things or bring about fairness and justice, takes bravery, especially in these turbulent times. And this is the bottom of the deck card. So see the correlation here and here. And there's the young girl, and this is the older girls, right? So this is like the Six of Swords in a way too, balancing out the dichotomies of life that often are projected onto us. But this is the change. We're balancing these, the subjugation and the projections and the perceptions that are misguided and even intentionally done to malign people, okay? Because at the end of the day, we're all innocent children, okay? And so we have to get back to our childlike state, not childish, but childlike. That's where the innocence, it's getting back to the innocence. So it's not the end of the innocence, you know, the song by the drummer of the Eagles. I can't think of his name right now because I'm channeling, but I saw them in concert back in 2006 in Sacramento, California. And anyway, he sings a song, This Is the End of the Innocence. So you might want to listen to that. And it takes bravery to challenge the conditioning and conditions and situations and issues that we're dealing with. And I don't know your situation or issue, but more than likely You're trying to find your way back to who you were when you were younger. Because that's what life is about, is having fun. And that's why I'm also speaking out to help children preserve their innocence, because there's a lot of bad actors as adults trying to essentially prostitute them and corrupt them sexually and emotionally. And it's, it's Satan's plan for God's children, not God's plan for God's children. And that is the black and white of it, okay? Doesn't matter what skin color we are. What matters is our heart. How we're being guided by our hearts, rather than, mental instability and extremes that, as I said in the beginning of this extended, is showing up in the environment as extreme weather phenomena. And you can watch What the Bleep Do We Know, the extended version of that movie, and you'll begin to gain a sense of how important it is to get a hold of one's emotions and balance one's emotions on our water planet. Okay. So I hope this is still recording, because it's very sporadic. Yeah, even tonight, I plugged my headphones in one port, did a test, it was working, went to go do something, came back, something told me to do a second test, and I did it, and it wasn't recording, so I had to switch ports. So, so I'm just hoping that this is all going to be filmed, because it does take time, right? Okay. I'm going to shuffle these real quick in front of you, and also pull a couple tarot cards. We'll see what comes out. This is from the secret deck that I decided to pull in at the last minute after I filmed the introduction for this extended reading. So we'll see if any other crystals come through to help you in cleansing so you can move forward. So Spirit, please give us one or more language of flowers messages as we enter from the fall into the winter solstice. I noticed my flowers that I planted all summer, or planted in the spring and enjoyed all summer, they're still hanging on, and it's almost the end of October. So one or more messages, please. Okay, thank you. And again, this is from the Language of Flowers Oracle deck. You see where the box is? Right here. Okay. So we got those messages for this particular part of the reading. And I'll read them in just a minute. There's two. I've sealed these up because I haven't used them for a while, so let me see here. Okay. pre-shuffling, I'm seeing the Four of Coins. I'm going to do one more. Four of Coins and Nine of Wands. I know the Nine of Wands was coming out in relation to the Ishtar and commitment reading, so you can also watch that one. That one's on Patreon. Blue Crystal. Okay, any final tarot messages in relation to this reading to make equal what is not equal or balanced on our planet? I'm going to see what comes out, and I'll talk about the bottom of the deck cards for this particular tarot deck and the Oceanic tarot deck, where I read the Page of Pentacles, Opportunity, and the Six of Swords, Calm. Okay, so we'll see what Spirit has to say, if there's any other final tarot messages. Okay. Okay, and I'm going to look at the bottom of this too. Yeah, that's very interesting. Okay, so okay, first of all, what I want to say is the bottom of the deck card for the Oceanic Tarot is the Four of Swords. So the way you stay calm is to get the right amount of rest and not be anxious, right? And we talked about that earlier. So in relation to this benediction card, ask Archangel Gabriel to help you with the guidance and remaining calm. Behind that is the Queen of Swords. Now the Queen of Swords cuts through the BS, right? And you have to do that, but you don't have to be mean. It's like I've said in my December 2020 mid-month message with the Archangel Power Tarot. The Queen of Swords was coming out there as well. So you don't need to be a bitch to get things done. You can be calm and you can be diplomatic, and you don't need to cause harm, right? So that's a balanced Queen of Swords. She's in the upright at the bottom of the deck, just right behind the Four of Swords. So this balancing the feminine and masculine energy is what's coming out here as well. And you'll see that with this secret surprise deck that I used. So Four of Swords, we have swords here, so we know there are battles involved, right? Mental and physical battles even. Because what you think about, you then carry into the environment. And that's what I'm talking about, all these different traps and ways that we're being entrapped instead of living life on our terms. And this is what I'm being guided by Spirit to help teach, and to also remain calm as you build your spiritual muscle to do so, right? And remember, the turtle is at the bottom of the deck, okay? And it says here, I am a determined person. Well, so is the Queen of Swords, okay? I'm a determined person with the strength to follow through. The resilience card is also or the resilience message is part of the Queen of Swords message for the Oceanic Tarot. So the tortoise is a very old animal on our planet, okay? Talk about resilience, right? And he goes in his shell to recover. So there's resilience and recovery messages here, and also rest, right? Four of Swords in traditional tarot is rest, which is also recovery. So this could also be financial recovery because finances were coming in here from the Gateway Oracle, I believe, when I read information from the Gateway Oracle. So you can be strong, healthy, and unwavering in body, mind, and spirit. You can be comfortable and feel at home in your body as you go through these changes. And behind the Queen of Swords is the Ace of Cups, which has to do with love. See, so there's a Ace of Cups. Opportunity is coming up for a new emotional opportunity. Okay, so it's important to get your rest as you recover and you remain resilient, but also loving, right? Queen of Swords in the opposite is anything but loving, right? But this is how we're retraining the female brain and the male brain to balance out the yang and the yin. Okay. And the other card I want to show you that was kind of staggered is the Ten of Cups. So when you balance your emotions, you can get to that wish fulfillment, which is Nine of Cups, and just beyond Nine of Cups is the Ten of Cups, which in traditional tarot is celebration, but here it's a completion. Okay, so things are completing, the cycle is winding up, and this is part of the great shift on our planet away from war, essentially, and toward love. The cards that came out, or the card that came out when I shuffled this secret special surprise deck is purpurite. So this is purple, and that means there's crown chakra balancing involved. And this card is reminding us about the Emperor. So the Emperor is showing up here, but when I shuffled, this card here was showing too, which is the Devil. So we know that the Devil's around usually when the Emperor is trying to make his moves forward, right, on his life path. And this is the challenge, is overcoming the temptations so that you can recover, regain your health more and more each day through determination. Okay, and then remember on the top of the deck here is the busy bee. So you can be busy, but be busy doing things that are healthy, right? And to work in harmony with others, not in sadistic, sociopathic, narcissistic, and dangerous extremes. So I think the message is pretty clear. The other card is the Chariot, and that denotes movement, which is number 7. So this number 7 has to do with the spiritual journey. Okay, and right behind the Chariot at the bottom of the deck is the Star. Okay, and behind that is the Moon in reverse. So the illusion, which involves the devil, right, is being reversed. Okay, so that's good. There's progress here. The Chariot, there's movement forward toward this Emperor status. And when you learn tarot and you understand what this means, this is significant because some people never make it this far. So again, the Emperor is here and the Queen of Swords is here. And so is Archangel Gabriel. So you can read more about Archangel Gabriel at the link that I posted in the description box. Archangel Gabriel is also noted to be the angel of the west, the archangel of the west. Archangel Michael is the archangel of the south. Archangel Uriel is of the north. And Archangel Raphael is of the east. And one other thing, when I mentioned in the introduction to this series that I decided to douse using a special pendant that I have, and I may have tucked it away. Oh, here it is. So I doused for each one of these cards, right? I had one card at a time out, and I doused over the card. And this aquamarine pendant, which I bought years ago in Hawaii on the island of Oahu when I was on vacation there. I used to go there a lot until I couldn't do it because of all the turmoil myself that I went through as a scientist. But when I doused over this card, the Equator card, it's interesting that the direction that it went was up and down, north and south. So this tells me that although Gabriel is here representing the west, which is where I'm located, there is a north-south energy issue that we're dealing with here from north to south, not just equatorially east-west or latitudinal, but there's also longitudinal concerns, and that likely has to do with the extreme weather patterns that could be showing up more problematic during this winter as we go into the winter with the geoengineering by those who are not balanced in their mental state or their emotional state. And that, I can tell you, I know firsthand because of those who I was interfacing with as a scientist in the western United States. Okay. The two oracle cards to round out this message are Fuchsia, True Feelings. Within you is all you need to know. And that's what we're getting at here, is focusing on feelings, emotions, senses, thinking with the heart, and acting upon things from a loving place rather than through fear. Okay? And when you do that, more opportunities will arise through calmness. Okay? And speaking of the heart, there's the green dyed agate. So purpurite, green dyed agate, and black tourmaline are the crystals. The charms are the broadleaf, planting seeds, growing the direction that you want to grow toward the sun, which is what plants do, and opening up your future with this key with a heart on it by following your intuition. Okay? The other oracle card for the language of flowers is the Moth Orchid, which I've not seen before. So we're dealing with true feelings and communication. So communicating true feelings, okay? I know in the Gateway Oracle at the bottom of the deck, the ones that I read, the one that I read was planting seeds, right? And I talked about it in relation to this charm, right? Because there's leaves in this landscape and on this tree. But right behind, I was going to mention it earlier, but I will now, right behind this bottom of the deck card, planting seeds, is the card dwelling in truth, which says, I stand in the light of truth, not in the darkness, in the light. And that's what I'm talking about here. And right behind the truth, this standing in or dwelling in truth, is being in the flow. And right behind the being in the flow card is listening with your heart and looking deeper. Okay? So this is what Spirit is having me help teach and point out. Being in the flow, letting go, be in the flow, dwelling in the truth as you plant seeds for the new future, right? The new harvest next spring. And this true feelings card is coming out. Okay, and it says, within you is all you need to know. It's not what other people are trying to force feed you through false communication and media. It's what matters that's happening inside of you and how you express yourself. And then the Moth Orchid is about communicating your truth, okay? Communicating true feelings, not hiding behind a mask or a facade and causing harm. Okay, listen and speak with greater care. And that's pretty much what this card talked about in the introduction, right? Be careful of what words you use and how you say them at this time. And I think that that's it. There was one other thing I was going to talk about. Let's look at purpurite because that's involving the crown chakra, and we'll see what the book says in relation to the Emperor, which is the number 4 card. Lapis lazuli in this tarot of gemstones and crystals has to do with being the hermit. So that's the hermit card in tarot, talks about going within. Okay, so, and then we have this, I believe this is iolite, which is another purple stone, and that helps with the crown chakra so that you can get the messages downloaded to create this new earth and this new life that will serve you better. So the Emperor card is, I'll just read it quickly and I'll sign off. Purpurite, the Emperor, number 4. Purpurite intensifies the visualization of new plans and provides the resolution required to put them into action, which is, we had the Chariot card along with this one, right, as the bottom of the deck. So the Chariot card has to do with action. Again, putting new plans into motion, essentially, into action. It promotes the spiritual development and imparts clear and lucid thoughts, not cloudy, confusing, devilish situations that are full of misconceptions and projections, right? But purpurite promotes spiritual development and imparts clear and lucid thoughts, bringing more order to the mind. The tarot interpretation for this card: Father, masculinity, energy, control of one's thoughts, responsibility, order, and clarity. The realization of goals, putting life into order, the solution of material problems. In the shadow aspect, which would be upside down, which it didn't come out as, is the opposite. And I'm not going to talk about that, but it has very much what I was talking about in relation to projections and miscommunications and misperceptions that are being, forced upon us as if that's the truth, and it's not. So in the shadow aspect here it says power for power's sake, which also correlates to immaturity and weakness. Okay, so we're building spiritual strength and spiritual muscle with Spirit's guidance, and isn't that pretty cool? So with that, I think that's it. If you would like any additional information in relation to this particular extended reading, please do contact me, because I do take pictures of the cards, and if you would like additional information in relation to what is coming through here, or if you would like some guidance on crystals that I can help you select, or a crystal grid that will help you in your location on this planet, then please let me know at crystalblue@newworldcom.biz, and you can also find that link to my email on my website, Science, Spirituality, Universe, City.com. Namaste.